the tiny lens of an American living here in the Pacific Northwest, it would appear that our world is about to spin off its axis. Fire on the rural landscapes of our region and fire in the inner cities of Portland and Seattle are filling our atmosphere with choking smoke, sending families and in some cases entire towns to shelter and pitting neighbor against neighbor in political combat. We're pointing fingers and shaking our tongues at one another as we blame someone else for our circumstances, citing everything from climate change to conservatism. The question is there any relief to be found? Well, I think if we look through another lens, the one we looked through in our last talk, Psalm 2, the lens of God's perspective, we may see quite a bit of relief. In fact, in Psalm 2, as the Lord points out that people in this world will plot, scheme, and rage in a desire to determine their own destiny, the psalm continues in verse 4. It goes like this: "The one enthroned in heaven laughs in disgust. The Lord taunts them. Then he angrily speaks to them and terrifies them in his rage, saying, I myself have installed my king on Zion, my holy hill." Now, I have to admit, at first blush, these words appear to be anything but comforting. But in the midst of chaos, confusion, and conflict in the world, God is angry and has installed a king in his kingdom who has ultimate power and authority over all things. There is no hope, you'd say. But the flip side of that authority, perspective, that rage reveals that there is not only hope, but confident hope. You see, God isn't just mad like you and I get mad. His wrath has always been directed towards sin, rebellion, and unrighteousness. This is not something new for him. He's not a fickle dictator, but a constant and consistent creator from whom all duly established authority has its source. And consequently, he established from eternity past a king, an ultimate authority, a king of kings over all. This king rules God's kingdom, not completely visible at this point in our world, but coming soon to us all. And that kingdom is characterized in a vision through a prophet named Isaiah, like this. He wrote, "In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's house will be the highest of all, the most important place on earth. It'll be raised above the other hills, and people from all over the world will stream there to worship. The Lord will mediate between nations and will settle international disputes. They will hammer their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will no longer fight against nation, nor train for war anymore." You see, in God's economy, authority brings blessing, peace, and prosperity for all people. But what does that mean for us today? These words were given to us some 3,000 years ago, but have been true from eternity past. In the midst of a world at war with one another and nations within themselves, in a world where it seems like the very creation is warring against us, there is a king and authority, a ruler, before whom all must give an account and in whom we will find comfort, rest, and hope. His name is Jesus. Next time we'll gaze on him as we continue in this psalm. Until then, recognize the value of the lenses you choose to look at life through, and if necessary, turn off the television, computer, set down the phone, and open the Word of God. King Jesus reigns, and he's not worrying one bit. So neither should you.